The bright neon lights piercing the sky of New York City and the chaos of the human crowds surrounded the esteemed diplomats of the Galactic Federation. After successfully completing intergalactic diplomatic talks, the diplomats had emerged from the United Nations building, ready to explore Earth. As Commander Zarek, with his green eyes scanning his surroundings, took in the city's technology and cultural diversity, he realized how different it was from what he had heard about in other corners of the galaxy. But now, he and his team were expected to dive into a deeper exploration, the experience of eating pizza. Their human guide, Diplomat John, was leading them to one of Manhattan's famous pizza restaurants, eager to offer this cultural experience. As Zarek walked alongside John, the sounds and smells of the city felt foreign to him. The scent of exhaust fumes mixed with the aromas of hot street food, while the hurried steps and noise of the human crowds created a cacophony all around them. Turning to the alien delegation, John flashed a friendly smile. "Tonight, I want to give you a real New York experience. One of the most famous foods here is pizza, and I want you to try it." Zarek, spreading his forearms slightly in a thoughtful gesture, analyzed John's suggestion. As a member of the Galactic Federation, he and his team had visited many planets and communicated with countless civilizations. However, none of them had attached such importance to such an ordinary food. Why was pizza so special? Could this experience be more profound than they had imagined? "This food called pizza," Zarek said, looking at John, "why is it so special in human culture? Could it play an important role in intergalactic diplomacy?" Sensing Zarek's seriousness, John replied, "Pizza has become a symbol here on Earth. It's not just a meal, it's a way of bringing people together. Families, friends, co-workers, they all gather around this simple food. Its variety and customization reflect the diversity and creativity of human culture." This explanation echoed in Zarek's mind. How had humans managed to imbue such a simple food with such deep meaning? On his home planet, food was purely a biological necessity, not a tool for pleasure or social bonding. Zarek decided that this experience might offer him valuable insight into better understanding humanity. When they arrived at the restaurant, known for its cozy and warm atmosphere, the rich smell immediately caught their attention. The warmth of freshly baked pizza dough, the rich scent of melted cheese, and the mix of spices filled the air. Zarek tried to understand how these aromas affected humans. Their emotional connection to food was a concept entirely new to him. Once seated, John handed them the menu. The contents only deepened Zarek and his team's confusion. Pepperoni, mozzarella, barbecue chicken. These words were completely meaningless to them. But as a skilled diplomat, Zarek analyzed every new situation with careful precision. He quickly understood that each of these food items represented different flavors to suit human tastes. But understanding the menu was one thing, making a choice was another. Staring at the menu's confusing terms, Zarek asked John, "Why are there so many options? Do humans personalize their meals this much?" With his usual friendly smile, John answered, "Yes, every pizza is essentially a personal choice. Different toppings allow everyone to create their own preferred flavor. In a way, pizza reflects people. Humans from different cultures have different tastes, and pizza perfectly brings that together." Zarek realized this explanation offered a deep insight into humanity. For humans, food wasn't just a necessity, it was an expression of individuality. From a diplomatic standpoint, these kinds of cultural bonds might make them stronger. Prioritizing personal choices seemed to be a key to understanding how humans built their communities. In the end, John ordered a mixed pizza on behalf of the indecisive aliens. When the large pizza tray arrived at the table, it was covered in melted cheese, glistening pepperoni, and a variety of vegetables. It was a visual spectacle. As Zarek reached out to take a slice, John demonstrated how to do it. "You grab the slice like this and eat it with your hands," he explained, expertly folding a slice. Zarek reflected on the significance behind this simple act. Sharing a meal, gathering around a table. He was observing just how strong the social fabric of human society was. Pizza, in a way, was just a symbol, but that symbol represented the bonds between them. As the alien diplomats stared in bewilderment at the enormous pizza tray before them, the warm atmosphere of the restaurant grew increasingly lively. People were laughing, the clinking of forks and knives echoed in the air, and the smell of pizzas filled every corner. Commander Zarek and his team, both curious and uneasy in this unfamiliar setting, were still trying to figure out how they could possibly eat a slice of pizza, despite John's efforts to make them feel at ease. Without further delay, John picked up a slice and said, "Let me take the first step," demonstrating once again how to hold and eat the slice. Zarek watched intently. While this action seemed natural and simple for John, for Zarek it appeared complex. After folding the slice and taking a bite, John smiled with satisfaction, saying, "Simple, right?" Commander Zarek gazed at the slice for a long moment, analyzing it. Before reaching for the pizza, he reflected on the strict diplomatic protocols of the Galactic Federation. Even in something as simple as eating this meal, there was an element of grace to be maintained. But here, they weren't resolving a conflict or navigating a diplomatic crisis. Here, they were forging a cultural connection. The pizza, though seemingly simple, could become a symbol for building a deeper relationship with humanity. "It's odd that a single slice of pizza can carry so much symbolic meaning," Zarek mused. Then, with some hesitation, he lifted the slice. His four-armed physique made this seemingly simple task far more complex than it was for humans. Holding the slice with two hands, he tried to fold it, but the flexibility of the dough and the slippery cheese made the task even more challenging. His fellow aliens watched him closely, eager to see him succeed. Zarek hesitated for a moment, but then, remembering John's relaxed demeanor, took a bite. As the hot cheese, tomato sauce, and dough filled his mouth, Zarek's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected the pizza to offer such a complex taste experience. Each ingredient had a distinct flavor, yet they complemented one another. The taste was far more intense than he had anticipated, and as it spread across his palate, he began to understand how humans could take pleasure in something so simple. "Interesting," Zarek murmured. Turning to his team, he commented, "The richness of this food could explain humans' emotional connections. Different flavors combine to form a stronger whole. It could be a reflection of their sense of community." Tarka, one of the alien scientists in the group, skeptically picked up a slice and examined it closely. "It would be interesting to analyze the biological value of this food," he said before taking a small bite. His eyes widened as well. This taste is truly different." John, observing their reactions, chuckled softly. "Pizza can be both simple and complex. It's an easy way to build bridges between people." After taking a larger bite, Tarka nodded. "The diversity in flavors is quite remarkable. The food habits of this planet are far more complex than I anticipated." As the diplomats continued trying slice after slice, each had a different reaction. Some commented in amazement at the flavor, while others simply enjoyed it in silence. Commander Zarek hadn't expected his team to take humans' food habits so seriously. This meal was clearly more than just food. Turning to Zarek, John asked, "So, how was your first experience? Will you approach the rest of Earth's cultural features in a similar way?" Zarek turned to John and answered seriously, "I realize now that, just like with everything else, there is deep meaning even in Earth's food. Humans form profound connections not only with their food, but also with their communities and cultures. Everything is a symbol, a representation. Even this simple pizza." A small smile crept across John's face. Humans tend to form deep connections with simple things. It's a reflection of our cultural diversity. That's why we're often seen as complex by other civilizations. Zarek listened carefully to this explanation. Pizza might have been a simple experience, but it carried a deeper understanding of human culture. Understanding humanity's social structures, individual preferences, and their bonds within communities could strengthen their relationship with the Galactic Federation. Later that evening, when the diplomats had finished their pizzas, Zarek and his team reflected on how much this experience had taught them. It wasn't just a meal, it was a step toward understanding the human world and their intricate social dynamics. This simple cultural interaction could strengthen intergalactic diplomatic ties. Zarek bowed his head slightly toward John. "Thank you for this experience. What we've learned about human culture will be valuable for us." John smiled and replied, "The pleasure is all ours. These simple yet meaningful interactions between our cultures can strengthen our future relationships. Next up, how about hamburgers?" Zarek, having never heard the term before, raised his eyebrows slightly and nodded. "Perhaps on our next mission." As the pizza adventure came to an end, Commander Zarek and his team stepped outside the restaurant. The lights of the Earth blended into the night, unfamiliar yet mesmerizing. The heavy responsibility of their diplomatic mission felt a bit lighter, thanks to the pizza experience. Zarek's mind was still buzzing with complex thoughts about human food culture. The way humans infused deep meaning into seemingly simple meals was a key insight into their social structure. At the restaurant's door, John waved goodbye to the alien diplomats. "Next time, maybe you'd like to try hamburgers or perhaps one of our desserts," he suggested. Zarek gave a slight nod. "Certainly. Understanding humans' food culture could strengthen our diplomatic relations in the future." Smiling, John added, "I hope tonight has given you a better glimpse of Earth. Our culture isn't just limited to technology and diplomacy. It's filled with our food, our music, and our artistic expressions as well." As Zarek reflected on John's words, he realized just how broad the social and cultural structure of the planet was. He knew there was much more to learn about humans because even this simple evening had taught them so much. One of his team members, the scientist Tarka, quietly approached Zarek and whispered, "Commander, these people completely contradict the data we previously gathered. They're far more complex than we anticipated." Zarek considered this statement. Humans had often been misunderstood and underestimated among other civilizations in the galaxy. But the pizza experience had opened a door to better understanding their deep social connections, their ways of bonding, and their world. A simple meal had become the key to forming a profound cultural connection. "John," Zarek said diplomatically, "it seems that humans can contribute to galactic peace and harmony not only through food but through their entire way of life. This simple pizza experiment proves that. We will continue to learn about your culture." John nodded with a smile. "We'll do the same, learning about yours. The foundation of diplomacy is understanding one another." As the diplomatic team prepared to return to their ship, Zarek's crew began to break the silence with a lively discussion. Tarka questioned why a single slice of pizza had provided such a complex experience, while other team members debated its biochemical effects. Meanwhile, as Zarek headed back to the ship, he reflected deeply. In the Galactic Federation's reports, humans had often been portrayed as wild and dangerous. But what he had seen here was that humanity was much deeper and more complex. Diplomacy wasn't just about technology and war strategies. Understanding people and connecting with their cultures could be the key to peace across the galaxy. As the ship's door opened, Zarek took one last look at Earth's illuminated night sky. He could hardly imagine how significant a role this small planet could play in intergalactic relations. Stepping onto the ship, he turned to his crew and said, "What we've learned on Earth is not just about food. It shows that humans are beings capable of forming deep and meaningful connections. When we return to the Federation, we will prepare a much more detailed report on this planet." As the ship's engines began to hum, John waved goodbye to them one last time. Zarek nodded slightly and looked at him before the ship's doors closed. This simple interaction with humans might very well be the beginning of a much deeper friendship in the future. As the ship traveled into the depths of the galaxy, Zarek thought to himself, one day, a bond could be formed between humans and species like ours, not just diplomatic but truly friendly. And perhaps, this pizza could be the start of it all. And so, the alien diplomats' first encounter with human culture had unexpectedly become a symbol of forming an intergalactic bond. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.